and dinacharya, the daily rhythm that Ayurveda teaches us, eating with the sun, resting with the darkness, honoring your circadian cycle. That's validated by modern science. Welcome to the Inflammation Code podcast. It's me, your host, Dr. Shivani Gupta. So, if you've been anywhere near the internet in the last couple of years, you've heard about Ozempic and the GLPs. You've seen the befores and afters. You've probably seen the celebrities do this. You've probably had a friend who's asked you, should they try it? And if you're like most of the women who I work with, you might be feeling confused about the whole thing. Because on the one hand, the results are real. People are losing weight. They're not hungry. But on the other hand, something feels off about it. Like, are we just treating a symptom? Is this a Band-Aid? Are we missing something deeper? Are there side effects? So today I want to tell you about a client who came through named Veronica. And through her story, I'm going to show you something that might change how you think about this entire conversation. Because I'm a big fan of using all the toolkits that are out there and making sure we're getting the support we need when we need it from whichever toolkit we have available to us. So Veronica came to me in a moment when she was really scared. She had taken a GLP-1 before. She started microdosing it. She did this slow increase the way that you're supposed to, but somewhere around 7 units for her and that potency, she kind of escalated too fast. So she was traveling when it happened, and she ended up throwing up uncontrollably. She was terrified. She was sick. She felt like her body had turned against her. So she stopped. But the fear didn't stop with it. Because here's what she was worried about. And I want you to hear this clearly, because she's not alone in this worry. She was scared that the GLP-1 had caused hair loss. She was scared it had caused damage inside her body that she couldn't see, because if it was hair loss, what else was it? She was scared that she had been experimenting with something that was essentially untested long-term in the entire human population, which is kind of how it's rolling out right now. And she felt like she had become part of some massive experiment that we are running on all of us as a society right now. Like, that's a pretty big experiment to run. But here's the thing. She also knew that she wanted to lose the weight. She knew that her inflammation was high. She knew that her relationship with food wasn't what it used to be. So she was stuck. She was scared of the drug, but she also felt like she didn't have another door to choose. And that's when she came to me. She walked in and she said something I want you to remember. She said, I wanted a natural way. When I have a problem, I want the natural way. I don't like taking drugs. So I want to try something different, but I don't know if it's possible. And that question, is it possible? That's what I want to answer for you today. When Veronica and I unpacked what was actually going on, her goals weren't complicated. She wanted less weight loss resistance. She wanted to reduce her inflammation. She wanted her insulin sensitivity to come back. She wanted her appetite to feel normal, again, instead of chaotic. And she wanted her gut to feel healthy again. Those are real goals, and they matter. But here's what I noticed. Veronica had tried the GLP-1, and the only thing she noticed was the appetite suppression. That was it. No inflammation reduction, no real weight loss, no sense that her body was healing. She was just not hungry. And when she did sit down to eat, she was eating half the amount. And that's when I asked her the question that changed everything. I said, what if your body isn't broken? What if it's not asking for appetite suppression? What if it's asking for something completely different? She looked at me like I was speaking another language. So I explained it to her this way. GLP-1 is a hormone your body already makes. It's released by your gut after you eat. And what it does is it tells your brain you're full. It stabilizes your blood sugar. And this is the most important part. It directly reduces systemic inflammation. Inflammation is going to keep us in this weight gain cycle and make it hard to lose weight. So when you take a GLP-1 drug like Ozempic or any of the others that are out there, you're not actually creating something new. You're not taking something that you don't have. You're extending and amplifying something your body is already trying to do for you naturally. And so the problem is this: in most of the women I see, that GLP-1 response has gotten blunted. It's weakened. It's not working like it's supposed to. And here's the question nobody's asking. Why? Why is it not working anymore? What changed in us? Why did Veronica's body stop producing a normal GLP-1 signal? Why do 12% of Americans, 12%, actually have what we'd call metabolic health? Why is this such an epidemic? Why are the majority of us suffering from metabolic chaos and our body's not working the way it should? So the answer is not a mystery. It's everywhere. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Processed food has stripped your gut of the fiber it needs to trigger GLP-1 release. Your microbiome has become dysbiotic. It's not producing the short-chain fatty acids that are supposed to stimulate your GLP-1 cells. You're under chronic stress and elevated cortisol, which directly blunts your GLP-1 signaling. And if you've carried excess weight, the fat tissue itself is secreting TNF-alpha and interleukin-6, the inflammatory molecules that further suppress your GLP-1 function. Isn't that interesting? Like, we're in a catch-22. It's not that your GLP-1 system is broken. It's that the conditions that are supposed to support it have been systematically dismantled and taken apart. So that's what I explained to Veronica. And then I said something that made her lean forward. I said, this is an Agni problem. Agni is a word from Ayurveda. It means digestive fire. It's the power in your body that transforms food into energy and information. And when Agni is compromised, when your digestive fire is weak or disrupted or confused, then everything downstream gets confused with it. Your appetite gets confused. Your insulin sensitivity gets confused. Your inflammation response gets confused. Your hunger signals, your safety signals, your satiety signals, really, all of it gets confused. So what Veronica didn't realize was that she'd been looking at this the wrong way the entire time. She thought my body's broken. She thought her problem was actually appetite. So she took a drug that suppressed appetite, and it worked. But it didn't solve the problem, because the problem was never the appetite. The problem was Agni, the digestive fire. And here's what blew Veronica's mind when I explained this to her. Ayurveda didn't have a word for GLP-1, but Ayurveda has been optimizing the exact same biological pathways for 5,000 years. The entire framework is there. Agni, your digestive fire. That's the gut's ability to process food and produce the right signals. We call it Tikta Rasa, the bitter taste. Ayurveda specifically prescribed bitter foods to stimulate our metabolism. And you know what those bitter foods do? They stimulate the L cells in your gut to release GLP-1. Same pathway, same outcome, 5,000 years earlier. The concept of ama, metabolic toxins that accumulate when our digestion is poor, that's exactly what we're calling dysbiosis now. Inflammatory metabolic waste. Same thing, just a different name. And dinacharya, the daily rhythm that Ayurveda teaches us, eating with the sun, resting with the darkness, honoring your circadian cycle. That's validated by modern science. Your insulin sensitivity and your GLP-1 timing are directly linked to circadian rhythm. So eating your largest meal at midday is so important when your digestive fire is the strongest. This is not old wisdom that we've outgrown. It's validated metabolic science that's proving what the ancient wisdom said to be true. So I looked at Ayurveda, I looked at Veronica, and I said, Ayurveda was building the conditions for GLP-1 to work. They just called it Agni. And that sentence shifted something inside of her because suddenly she understood. Her body wasn't broken. Her body was asking for something specific. It was asking for Agni support. It was asking for inflammation reduction. It was asking for her to rebuild the conditions that allow her own body to produce a healthy GLP-1 response. It wasn't asking for a drug. It was asking for understanding. And that's the thing. So what did I actually do for Veronica? I put her on what I call my 7-day Agni reset. It's gentle. It's not extreme. It's designed to indoctrinate the habits and the rituals that rebuild digestive fire and reduce inflammation. And one thing I'll say here, if you look at us as a society, we have changed our palate significantly. There are books that talk about how we breathe, that talk about our mouth shape changing and evolving over time, our jaw size, the strength of our teeth. There's a theory that right now we are loving processed soft foods. And if you think about it, we're taking a lot of our foods now in liquid form. We're taking supplements in liquid form, protein shakes in liquid form. So we're no longer desiring bitter foods. We're no longer desiring hard to eat foods. We want what's easy and fast. Well, easy and fast doesn't support your GLP-1 production. Bitter foods is one of the first prescriptions that we come to when it comes to Ayurveda and even modern science when we're talking about gut dysbiosis. So how can you bring back in foods that give you short-chain fatty acids? That's ghee. How can you bring in more bitter foods? Bring in those bitter leafy greens. Maybe they're a little hard to digest. Maybe you've got to add extra olive oil and lemon dressing on there, but fit them in. Or take your digestive bitters as a supplement to help with your gut health. That's so important. And so coming back to what I was talking about, when it comes to the 7-day and the 21-day detoxes I do with my clients, I typically do them inside of my 6-week or 8-week program because we need time to really prepare the body. Then we go through a 21-day program of detoxing together. And what we accomplish is Agni reset or digestive fire reset to help people really reset the body, reset the system, and get yourself back on track. And in Ayurveda, nothing we do is going to be extreme. We're very gentle, and we design it to indoctrinate these habits and these rituals that rebuild the digestive fire, that reduce inflammation, but also show you how to do this again and again forever as you need it. Because in Ayurveda, the foundation is gut health, and then everything else we do builds from there, from gut health. So in her case, we started with fenugreek. We call it methi in Sanskrit. Fenugreek is a classic Ayurvedic metabolic herb. It's a soluble fiber, it slows carbohydrate absorption, and it directly stimulates GLP-1 secretion from your intestinal cells. So what Veronica did was actually simple. She soaked 1 teaspoon of fenugreek seeds overnight, and in the morning she drank the water. That's it. Before anything else, before coffee, just the fenugreek water. Really simple. That's the solutions we give from Ayurveda. Simple drinks, simple teas, simple spices. And the mechanism is actually elegant. The soluble fiber in that water activates the same cells that produce GLP-1. So you're not forcing appetite suppression. You're giving your body the conditions to produce its own GLP-1 signal naturally. Simple. We also incorporated turmeric, since it's my favorite. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, modulates what's called the AMPK pathway. So it enhances GLP-1 release from your intestinal L cells. It reduces CRP and interleukin-6, IL-6. These are the inflammatory markers that were suppressing her GLP-1 function in the first place. And this is important. You have to pair your turmeric with black pepper. Piperin, which is the compound in black pepper, increases curcumin absorption by 2,000%. So without it, most of what you're taking doesn't make it into your circulation and thus doesn't help you. And if one of your goals is weight management, we know that reducing inflammation is a key part of it. That's part of what people are taking GLPs for. The natural alternative is a potent turmeric supplement to help you win at that inflammation piece of the puzzle. And so this is literally what I take every single day because I understand the mechanism, I understand why it works, and I understand that it's working with your body, not against it. We also focused on bitter foods, bitter melon, cinnamon. These aren't random. They activate the same cellular pathways as GLP-1 receptors. They improve our glucose metabolism. And they're not new. Ayurveda prescribed them 5,000 years ago because they were working then too when it came to people who needed this support. And so the protocol also included what I call high fiber, protein forward meals. So when you eat protein first in a meal, it delays your gastric emptying. So it amplifies your GLP-1 release. And the fiber, the short chain fatty acids that come from fiber fermentation, those directly stimulate your GLP-1 L cells. So they're not restricting. In your case, you're not restricting, you're optimizing. You're creating the conditions for your body to do what it's designed to do. Simple, easy, using food as medicine. But here's what made the difference for Veronica. It wasn't the herbs, it wasn't the food, it was the understanding. She finally understood that she wasn't powerless, she wasn't broken, she wasn't at the mercy of her appetite or her metabolism. Her body was asking her for something. And once she understood what it was asking for, everything shifted. Now, I want to be really clear about something because this is important. I'm not going to stand here and tell you, or sit here and tell you that GLP-1 drugs don't work. They do. The research shows that GLP-1 receptor agonists can meaningfully reduce systemic inflammation before significant weight loss even starts. That's real. That's not just about appetites or calories. That's a genuine anti-inflammatory effect. And we also know that the GLP-1s will reduce your appetite, cut down those meal cravings, reduce that food noise, make it so much easier to eat less in your day so you're in a calorie deficit. These are all valid and true. I have tons of family members taking GLP-1s right now, and they should be because they are all diabetic with heart disease, with a lot of comorbidities, and they're not winning on their own. I've seen the Oprah special where she goes into people who would never win without this tool. So when I kicked this off and said, I believe in all the tools, I do. I believe in every tool in the right place at the right moment. I have even tried GLP-1s myself. I had one of my doctors in the last few years who was like, look, you need some support. Try this idea, microdose it. And I did. And it was fine. It was helpful. It did reduce appetite. But to me, I always have a checks and balances. Is the benefit of it outweighing the potential side effects? In my case, no. I don't think so. I don't think it's worth it. I think in my case, for where I'm at, for my goals, I can get to that goal naturally. But that's such a personal decision. And for me, I do have those conversations with myself. Are you eating your bitters? Are you eating the right things? Are you supporting your gut health? Because without good gut health, we are going to crave the sugars and the snacks and all these things. And so it's really a multifactorial approach. And Ayurveda always looked at it as that. Are we looking at our sleep, our stress levels, our food, our digestion, our self-care, our super spices, all the 6 pillars that I teach that we can apply to get to our health goals? So when it comes to the GLPs, I want to be honest about what concerns me because it's not a get out of jail free card that works for everyone. There are side effects. First of all, I worry about muscle loss. When you dramatically reduce your calorie intake, your body can start breaking down your muscle tissue to meet its energy needs. So studies show that 20 to 50% of weight loss on GLP-1s can come from lean mass. And that's not just a number. That is your strength. That's your metabolism. That's your future. And we know putting on muscle as we age is harder. So to sacrifice it is actually a really big deal. Then nutrient absorption and deficiencies. When you're eating a quarter of what you ate before, then the nutritional quality of what you're eating becomes even more critical. And the data shows that over 20% of people on GLP-1s develop nutritional deficiencies within a year. Vitamin D, iron, B vitamins, the things your brain and heart and your energy production depend on. And what's interesting is if you did big, deep blood work, which I do every year, you would see you were potentially already deficient in all these things. I'm already deficient in iron, B, and D. So if I all of a sudden eat a quarter of what I ate before and it's the same diet, I'm really giving myself a quarter of those vitamins and minerals potentially, which is going to cause serious deficiencies. Then we're going to have thyroid dysfunction. We're going to have hormone issues. Like you could kick off a much bigger set of problems. I'm already constantly battling with those vitamin deficiencies. What if you don't know about them? And then it takes you a long time to understand what you kicked off in the process of cutting down your meals. And I've talked to my family in Houston about this. If you're going to eat a quarter of your meals, you better not you better not be eating a piece of toast and like a little snack with it. Like focus, people. Protein, fiber, your macros. Like, are you getting nutrition here? Or are you just getting away with eating what you want and you're never hungry and you're just tired and you just deal with it because you think you're going to have all this weight fall off your body? That's not logical. That is going to cause serious long-term harm to your body. Like that doesn't make sense to me. And then the final piece is sustainability. What happens when you stop the drug? If you haven't addressed the root cause, the compromised Agni or digestive fire, the dysbiotic microbiome, the lifestyle habits that created this problem in the first place, then the weight comes back. The inflammation returns, you're back where you started, or from what we're seeing, people are worse off than when they started. They kind of balloon and have excess weight after. So here's my actual stance on this. I'm not anti-Ozempic. I'm pro-root cause. And I'm also pro-choice. We should all have a choice in all the toolkits available to us and use them at different times. So if you're considering GLP-1, I want you to be informed. I want you to be proactive. I want you to understand what you're trading and what you're gaining when you're trying this. And if you're scared of that tool, if you hear about the side effects or you see people around you who are using it and you think, that's not for me, I need a different solution, I want you to know that Ayurveda can support you to get there without the drug, with understanding and rhythm and ritual instead. Because here's the truth. The drug buys time, but the Ayurvedic work is what makes it sustainable. If you're going to take GLP-1, you should be doing the Agni work simultaneously. And if you're not going to take it, then the Agni work is everything. So these can be done hand in hand as well. So either way, the foundation is the same. So here's what happened with Veronica. She committed to the 21-day detox inside of my program. It was gentle. It was manageable. It was designed to indoctrinate the habits and the rituals, not to be perfect, but just to rebuild the foundation of strong, robust gut health. And in those 21 days, she experienced something that she hadn't before and that she hadn't expected. She had more energy, not less. She thought reducing food would make her tired. Instead, her digestion improved and her inflammation started to come down. And then her energy went up. Her sleep improved. Her anxiety decreased. Her cravings for sugar and processed foods started to shift. Not because she was white-knuckling, not because her blood sugar was more stable, but her GLP-1 signaling was improving naturally. And her body was finally getting the signal that it was satisfied. So by the end of that 21 days, she had lost 15 pounds. And it was actually not 21 days. By the end of the 6 to 8 weeks together, she had kicked off tremendous weight loss. And she told me she lost 15 pounds. And I basically asked her, what did I say to you? Say it back to me. That's an incredible result. That's insane. But she shared with me that that's not the important part. The important part is she kept it off. because she didn't lose weight through appetite suppression. She lost weight by rebuilding her Agni, her digestive fire. She got there by reducing her inflammation. And she got there by restoring her body's ability to regulate itself. So she continued on that plan. She kept producing her own inflammatory management system in herself. And she kept bringing her inflammation down and bringing her health up. And 18 months later, she's still there. No medication, no yo-yo dieting, no fear. Just a woman who understands what her body was asking her for. And so if Veronica's story resonated with you, I want you to know something. You don't need to be at the mercy of your appetite. You don't need to be scared of your body. And you don't need a prescription to start reducing your inflammation. What you need is to understand what your body is actually asking you for. Where does it need the most support? So if you want to put this into practice immediately, if you want to do what Veronica did and rebuild your Agni, reset your inflammation over the course of 21 days, that's exactly what my 7-day inflammation challenge is built for. It's the foundation. It's the protocol. It's the habits and the rituals that create the conditions for your body to heal itself. If the body's inflamed, it will not heal itself. So we've got to approach that inflammation first. So you can find all that info at one of my websites. It's 7dayinflammationdetox.com, or you can get there through my main website, drshivani.com. And if you want the deeper framework, those 6 pillars of Ayurveda that support metabolic health, elemental design, circadian rhythm, gut health, systemic diet, self-care rituals, all of that woven together, that's in the Inflammation Code. That's my book. And you can find it on Amazon or wherever books are sold. The link will be here in the show notes. But here's what I want you to take with you from today. Your body isn't broken. It's asking. It's been asking for a long time. And the question isn't whether you need a drug or a protocol or a fix. The question is, will you listen to what it's asking? Because once you listen, once you understand, once you give your body the conditions it was designed to thrive in, everything shifts. You don't need a prescription to start reducing your inflammation. You need to understand what your body is asking for. And then you need to give it the tools that it was designed to use, those original ancient tools. So I'll see you next week on the Inflammation Code. And if this episode helped you, if it gave you a different way of thinking about this whole conversation, share it with someone who's been asking about Ozempic and the GLPs. They need to hear this. They need this wisdom and knowledge for themselves. Here's the thing. We're all on our own health journey, seeking, trying, learning. And as women in midlife, when we are getting more and more inflamed, things get harder and harder for us. And we get more and more desperate for those answers. I know I fit in that boat too. I'm a woman in midlife seeking solutions. So if you're hearing this episode and you're like, I need more information, reach out to me. On my website at drshivani.com, you'll see a link where I do free discovery calls. I might not be able to do them forever because I'll get too busy. But for now, I love checking in with you, understanding what it is you're struggling with, and if I can support you or send you to the right practitioner or solution. You can find that at drshivani.com. You can also find all the other episodes of this podcast, my book, my socials, everything else. Follow me on social media. I love teaching online on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest, and who knows what else, probably TikTok soon. But I'm here for you. I want you to win at your health. I want you to feel good. I want you to feel happy in your body and feel great about your body. And so I'm here to support you on that journey. So share this episode with someone who needs it. This is the Inflammation Code podcast, and I'll see you guys next week.